didn't know what an alcoholic was. I didn't know what that meant. The first time I drank, I got blackout drunk. I think I drank a glass of whiskey, which is a problem. That's not a normal thing to do. I continued with antidepressants and abusing cocaine in college. Alcohol was a solution for my emotional issues. It was a solution for everything. It made me not feel all of the things that I wanted to get as far away from as possible. I always knew it was a problem because my life was a problem. I could never really hold a job. My relationships were always messed up. I never felt at peace inside, so there was something always wrong with my spirit. And so I knew something was wrong, but what I didn't want to know was that it was the direct result of my drinking and using.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Recovery Happens. Today we have Marilyn, who's here to offer hope and encourage recovery.
So the environment, while I was using, I would isolate myself. I got to the point with my drinking where nobody wanted me at a bar with them. Nobody wanted me at parties. I didn't have friends that wanted me to come over. They were like, maybe you should stay home. So it's a complete overhaul. I also didn't want anyone to ever see me that way. So it was just a lot of alone time and making excuses and not really leaving the house unless I had to. And now I have people everywhere that I have gotten to know through the fellowships that even if we're not close, I know I would 100% be able to call them for anything that I needed. The sense of community is an incredible thing, and I've read cross-culturally that the biggest indicator of happiness for people across all cultures, all over the world, are to be seen in the relationships that they have. And to have good relationships with the people that you're living amongst is the most important aspect of my happiness today. So the recovery community is vital to my well-being now as much as it was when I was really going through it. The forgiveness and the understanding and the empathy that I was met with every single time I disappointed myself and relapsed again, or every time I did something I wish I hadn't done, I was always just so fully embraced by the women in this community. And I think the relationships that I have with women today are some of the most important aspects of my life. This is a very forgiving community. I never thought I would say I do genuinely love Port Huron. I continued with antidepressants and abusing cocaine in college. Alcohol was a solution for my emotional issue. So I knew something was wrong, but what I didn't want to know was that it was the direct result of my drinking and using. I thought there was something wrong with me because my only goal was to enjoy and manage my drinking and using. So I guess it wasn't until I was like 31 when I crawled back to Michigan after failing several attempts at a life and then continuously just lighting a match and watching everything blow up, that I came to Michigan and had to move back in with my parents, and I had to say, like, okay, there's something seriously wrong with how I'm living my life. My mom actually took me to my first AA meeting, and I was furious when I walked out those doors, and I said, I will never go back, because they immediately talked about God, they immediately talked about faith in a higher power, and to me at that point I had founded my individuality, a lot of my identity based upon there is no God, there is no such thing as right or wrong, there are just things you do and things you don't do, and that supported my lifestyle. It supported having this emptiness and only caring about material things and only caring about how much money I had or how it looked on the outside. Until 2022, I did come to Port Huron in 2019 after several failed rehabs, several failed attempts on my own to get sober. I did do AA, and so I did attempt the 12 steps, and my first sponsor I just informed, like, I won't be doing the third step, which isn't really how that works. I always wanted to rewrite my own program, and in my mid-30s, I was in and out of jail, I was in and out of institutions, and nothing I was doing was working, but I would not allow direction from a person in the fellowship to tell me that what you need is a higher power, because I thought that was truly absurd. So you're telling me I have a medical issue, I have a substance abuse disorder, I have alcoholism, but I have to, it's going to sprinkle magic fairy dust on it and everything is going to be okay. I mean, that's what it sounded like to me. And so I refused. I thought there was a way I could think my way out of it or reason my way out of it, or employ my way out of it. If I had a good job, that's what I thought I really needed, was a good solid 9 to 5. And that just wasn't the truth. So I continued on this journey of being in and out of recovery homes and failing at that and failing at holding jobs. And I think the worst part about it was how miserable I was on the inside. I didn't want to be alive anymore. I didn't want to commit suicide necessarily, complete suicide. I just didn't want to feel all of the things I was feeling. And it was a profound sadness and loneliness and emptiness that I could not think my way out of, and I didn't understand why. But so once I began to be willing to accept some sort of faith, my thinking changed and it straightened out, and the obsession was lifted, which is the biggest gift I have ever been given, to not constantly obsess about changing the way I feel about drinking and using drugs. And as I grew in my faith, because several very bizarre things happened in the church that were too powerful to be coincidental. That was my favorite thing before, like, well, everything is a coincidence or nothing is, and everything, oh, that's just a coincidence. But I truly, like, now that I have a sense of faith, my life has completely transformed, and I have completely transformed. When I first got here, I was angry and I was mean. I didn't want to hear what anybody had to say. I was so quick to tell somebody what was wrong with them. I genuinely hated myself, and I didn't know how to forgive myself, and finding faith allowed me to be forgiven by, I say the magical fairy dust, and maybe it is, because that's what it feels like today. And I mean, it sounds, I can't even imagine hearing myself like if I was time traveling, and it was myself 5 years ago to sit in this room. It's incredible how much my life has changed and how much I've changed, and I'm a person that I'm proud of, which was not something I ever thought I would accomplish unless it was through like major educational goals, major academic goals, major, success in business. I always saw those as being the only noteworthy points of being able to be a person that you're proud of. And today, those are not the things that I'm proud of. I'm proud of how I treat other people, and it's been an incredible journey, and I cannot believe I'm saying these things.
Thank you for watching this edition of Recovery Happens. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please give us a call at 888-68-BW-ROCK.